Conversation swirling in the cool night air. Talk.
Good morning, Alan. Where's my applause music?
I can't see you, Leanne. Where are you? There we go. Good evening. Oh, okay.
How's that tasting?
That's tasting wonderful. I see. If it were reversed, I couldn't do it. I couldn't drink in the morning. It wouldn't make sense.
Well, I can't either, right? They're like, this isn't an Irish coffee. This is just straight from the kettle. Alan, it's been a while since we've talked the walk. I was just commenting pre-show. You've got a bit of a tan.
Yeah, well, we were in Nantucket for 2.5 weeks, which, for those of you who don't know, is an island off the coast of Massachusetts, and it's absolutely God's country. Beautiful beaches, not a lot of people there because it's very expensive, and world-class restaurants. And so our family joins us for a week. We spend a week and a half ourselves, and now I'm spending time every day out at the pool to build up this tan.
To build up the tan. Incredible. And like you go there, I guess you booked again for next year. It's something that you
We're
do
already
as a
booked, yeah. You got to do that,
fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, how good. Obviously I'm in the Southern Hemisphere, but I have a tan all year round. I was born that way. But it's been pretty nice weather. The sunshine is out. It's not too cold in Brisbane. It's why I can live here. I couldn't live any further south. I don't know how you survive the winters. It's incredible.
I like the season. I like the snow. I like the seasons. And you can always get out of it. I mean, you get on a plane, you fly to Florida or something. So
yeah, that's very true. Hey, let us know where you're joining us from in the comments. Are you Northern, Southern Hemisphere? Are you a summer or winter person? Are you envious of Alan's tan? Let us know your thoughts in chat today. And we'll get on to the topic soon, but what's been on your mind? Like, what's been happening since we last caught up?
Oh God. Well, we both have books coming out in October then, right? And so I've launched a really big publicity campaign for this one. So I'm doing a lot of podcasts, a lot of radio interviews. They've placed a lot of articles for me, so that's kind of exciting. It's fun. And my son has just produced a play in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which got good reviews.
Cool.
So that's very positive. And my daughter, who's a showrunner, I think is working on her next project, which she's producing. So all that is great. And just this wonderful, wonderful summer here. We're having a great time.
Oh, that's so good to hear. And I don't know, but I got my paperback this week for my book Work Fame that Alan Weiss, you've written the foreword for this. So thank you for that. It looks great. I'm excited. My book's coming out 30th of September. Visit getworkfame.com. I've pre-sold over, I think, 400 books already, which is pretty amazing. So thanks for your support. Yeah, it's exciting to have a book out. I know you get one out every sort of quarter, every 90 days, but you're putting a lot of effort towards this next one, I'm hearing.
This particular one, yeah, because I think it's so important. I think people really, this is one that, people really need. There's a self-esteem crisis in the world. So,
yeah, Big time, big time, big time. Yeah. Okay. So today's topic is you made it. Now what? So we're really talking about success and what happens on the other end of that. Tell me more about like this topic. What's drawn you to even write about this? I know you write about this a lot and talk about with clients.
Well, I advise people all over the world. I still have a very active practice. And when people have made it to a certain extent, and for some people that could be a 500,000, for some people it's 3 million, for some people it's 10 million. They start to ask themselves how much is enough. That could be, a very sort of existential question, but it shouldn't be. And the fact is that you don't keep accumulating. You don't keep collecting. And so I wrote some things down here because it's so important from my book. Enough is having sufficient wealth that you can make decisions and do what you want where money doesn't matter.
Yes.
But the decisions are important to you. So you don't buy an expensive car because you feel you have to have one to suit someone else. You buy because you really want to enjoy it. And so the question isn't how much is enough. The question is enough of what? What are we talking about? So I want to suggest to the people watching this that we're not talking about accumulation. We're talking about purpose. And, I had this question I ask everybody, who do you want to be next year? A purpose or a calling is really the important part. And, if we have time, we get to it. I wrote down sort of 7 components of this, and we can always send it to viewers later, I guess, or post it somewhere.
Yeah.
But, it's important to be able to choose what you want to do in your life without financial anxiety. And that means that there's a limit to how much money you need based upon what you want to do in your life.
Mm. Mm.
And you must know this too, but I've met people who made, let's say they made $500,000, and they said it's my best year ever, and then they said, but it probably should be seven. Somebody they have $2 million in the bank, and I say, well, if I could do, maybe it should be three, and it never stops, it never ends.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
this is my poverty mentality, in that no
Yeah.
matter how successful you are monetarily, you're always anxious about making more, and that's no way to live your life.
It is true. It's like, and I don't know, this probably is a societal thing like fed into us, but you mentioned scarcity mindset. We always need to have more without actually stopping and addressing, actually, what do I need? And I think I have been through an exercise where like I wrote down like, what do I actually want in life? And, it's fun for the first, after about 20, you're like, what else is there? Honestly, like really health, wealth, relationships.
Well, yes, and that's why I hate bucket lists.
Yeah.
It's so arbitrary.
Hmm.
And you say to yourself, well, there are 8 items on my bucket list, but I'm not successful. I haven't achieved 2 of them. So you spend more money and more time pursuing things just to check them off a stupid bucket list. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, there are some things I've done that people want to do, and my thinking is I should have done them. I mean, it's like
You shouldn't
people
have
that
done them.
well, people gonna hate me for this, but everybody raves about Iceland, and so my wife and I went to Iceland, and I found it the biggest bore in the world. I mean, really. I mean, I'd rather be home watching paint dry. It's just
Really?
barren. Oh God, it's vanilla. It's sterile. The service is dreadful. So my feeling is, do what you want to do that doesn't put a strain on your finances, or have enough finances so there isn't a strain. But don't go crazy about it. I mean, there's no reason to fly a private plane coast to coast if you can fly first class. Good enough.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just want to acknowledge we've got Leanne here. G'day, Leanne. Good to have you here. She's joining us from California. I prefer when it's warm, and it's warm right now. Can't wait for your book to come out. Thank you so much for joining us, Leanne. So tell us about, I mean, you've got then people like Jeff. Like, I know these are the extremes, and we'll talk about, we won't focus on these people, but, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk that just want more and more and more, accumulate more wealth. What do you think is, what's going on for them? I'm just curious.
What's going on with them?
Yeah. Like,
Well,
how do they keep just wanting and doing more?
I have to tear myself away from trying to figure out all of Leanne's initials there. I think she needs more initials, but okay. I think you have to rule out the exceptions. You have to rule out the extremes, all right? So you have people who want to be homeless and want to live that life, and you have people who want to accumulate more wealth than's ever been accumulated. Musk could have $1 trillion deal if he does this next merger thing. So you have to disregard them. I think what happens with the rest of us is there's tremendous normative pressure, not to just keep up with the Joneses, but to beat the Joneses. And you've heard me say TIAABB. There is always a bigger boat. And we were just in Nantucket, and you look at, and there's always a bigger boat. And there's a huge boat here, there's a bigger boat there, and then out, a half a mile out in the bay, there's a boat so big you can't even get closer to these boats. So there's always a bigger boat. Who the hell cares? I don't own a boat. I don't want a boat. I don't own a plane. My kids want to be in a plane and so forth. So I think that there's tremendous normative pressure and a real feeling of inadequacy among people. This is low self-esteem that leads them to try to pursue things and to acquire things and to collect things because it's important for their ego. And the difference between ego and self-esteem is immense. And they're mistaking these things as important to their self-esteem. It's not. They're trying to build this external ego that depicts them as who they want to be, instead of just relaxing and being who they are.
Yeah. I want to talk about about relaxing. And sometimes a phrase that I've heard like around successful people who are, wondering what to do next is they're kind of bored, right? They've been successful, and they maybe should continue pursuing what they're doing because that's made them successful. But they're just bored. I'm curious around that. Like, where do you keep finding, I guess, inspiration, or, you've had this great peak in your career or your life. It's like, what's next? What does that?
Well, you can't be focused to the point that you only have one gun sight, so to speak. In other words, we all should be people of multiple interests. Some of that's work, some of it's hobby, some of it's interest. A lot of it ought to be families and relationships.
Yeah.
There are people who are polymaths. They can talk to anybody about anything. And there's one of the people who I advise had financial problems, then hit it big and is doing extremely well. And he said, almost offhand the other day, he said, now I have all these hobbies. And he's doing things he never did before. Some are athletic, some are not athletic, some are entertainment and so forth. But now he's got hobbies, and he's given himself the time and the freedom to do that. So whenever I get bored with something, I just stop doing it. People say, well, shouldn't you retire? I mean, technically, I've been retired for 25 years. I just do what I love, and people say, yeah, really? I mean, come on. I don't really work. I do what I love doing. And so constantly,
yeah.
I had the $1 million consulting colleges, which were a lot of fun and everything. Then I stopped doing them. I don't regret it. I stopped doing them. I had the consulting conventions. I stopped doing them. My books right now most of my books over the last 2 years, maybe 10 books, whatever it's been, haven't really been on consulting. They've been on fearless leadership. They've been on 3SCORE and more. They've been on, the Thrive and things like that. So once you have sufficient money, not endless money, but sufficient money, you can change your pace. You can change your steps. You can change your focus, right? I dealt with a woman who said to me, Alan, you're a car expert. Which of these cars should I get? Because she's a really good spot financially. I said, do you like cars? She said, no. It's a true story. I said, then don't get a car. It's not a requisite of being successful.
No. Let's go talk about the hobbies and that guy that you mentioned that, he became, made a lot of money and now has hobbies. What about and this probably it's off topic, but isn't it important to have hobbies all the way through anyway, like through the journey, even if you're not doing that well? Isn't that also important, or is there a point in life where you really need to just knuckle down and do the work?
It is important, but let me tell you why. It's important to understand the reasoning here. The reason that interests and hobbies and pastimes are important is this. All of us have X amount of talents, right? We all have talents. Yours and mine might be different or overlap, but we all have talents. And so the people who do the best at work, whether for an organization or on their own, have as many of their talents as possible applied and recognized. So you said to me before, hey, you wrote my foreword. I'm really happy you did that for me. And so, you recognize the fact I was of some small help with your book. And so not all of our talents, though, can always be used on what we're calling the job or our careers. And so I collect things. That's some of my talent, right? I love the theater. My wife and I go to the theater because my talent is evaluating the plays and seeing why they were written and if I understand them and so forth. And we both love travel. And so we do that. And so while I can travel in my work, which is fortunate, there's an overlap.
Yeah.
Sometimes clients have required I go places that I don't exactly want to go. But my wife and I can choose where we want to go. So what I'm saying to you is that if you can maximize the application of your talents between work and non-work, you're going to be a hell of a happy person. But if you're not using all your talents and getting recognized, you get very frustrated.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then actually that's the reason why I wrote the book. My book, Work Fame, is because that often happens. You're doing something but not getting the recognition as well. So what tends to, I've got a question here around when you are coaching clients and they've made it, in whatever way that is, what changes in the conversation then that you have with them and what they seek you out for?
What they want to know, the way they phrase it is what's beyond success is how they phrase it.
Yeah.
And because they recognize either they don't want to keep doing what they're doing or they have reorganized it so that other people are doing it for them. And this is the concept, by the way, of buying time. And one of the things about how much is enough and so forth is if you pay someone to take care of the garden or to do your cooking or to do your flight reservation, you are paying to get time. So since I can always make another dollar, but I can't make another minute, spending money to buy time is essential. And so what's beyond success is the ability to buy time and to experiment with things that you've never been able to get to. Now, that might be, philanthropic work. It might be coaching work. It might be learning music or a musical instrument. It might be traveling more. And so you have to give yourself freedom to do that. And the whole trick to that is you have to extirpate the guilt. You have to get rid of the guilt in doing that. In other words, hey, you could be working right now. Yeah, I could be, but I'm not.
Yes. And I think that also comes back to defining what success actually is, because there is always more. You could always be doing something else. And so how do you recognize that, oh, actually, this is enough? Like, what are the, how do you identify that? I know you spoke about it gives you the opportunity to do things and make decisions, but I guess some people are super successful, and I look at them and think they are, and they just keep sort of hustling and doubling down.
Well, I think, for example, I'll give you some metrics as an example.
Yeah.
You can protect your family. And by protect your family, I mean you can take care of any health concerns or academic concerns or whatever without having to go into debt. And you can take care of your family. A second one here I wrote down is that you can pursue any opportunity you want because you want to, not because you have to, not because you're being paid, because you want to.
Yes.
You can walk away from things that you're unhappy with. You no longer regret, oh, I shouldn't have walked away from that client, even though, yes, you should have walked away from that client. You should walk away from this relationship. You should walk away from this membership. And so those are independent decisions. I call them freedom decisions, which you can start to make because you're not so worried about accumulation. You're more concerned with your purpose. And because there is no end to accumulation. You can try to accumulate forever. What good does it do you? I don't need a sixth car,
Maybe you do.
Well, it depends on electric rolls they're doing.
You look forward to seeing that in your garage next. So I guess so this really does then link to purpose. And you mentioned at the beginning of the show that you had 7 sort of ideas around purpose and finding your calling, because I imagine it would shift over time. Is that right?
Right. It shifts as you mature. A good analogy is you see a movie in your 20s. If you see it again in your 60s, you might have a very different interpretation,
Yes.
And so just quickly, we've talked about some of them. You live as you choose without financial anxiety. You can protect yourself and the ones you care about. You pursue opportunities because you want to, not you have to. You're generous without threatening your own security. So you take care of yourself so you can take care of others. That's the oxygen mask.
That's a nice one. Yeah.
You buy back time rather than having people buy your time. That is absolutely critical. So
I love that line. That is such a good. Say that again.
Okay. I want to read from the book. You buy back your time rather than continually selling your time.
That's awesome.
Where others are buying it from you. You walk away from bad clients and bad deals, and you stop using accumulation as evidence of success. So, you don't say to, look, I have these 4 houses. I have all this stuff. You might have it, but that's not your evidence of success. Your evidence of success is that you're living life with a purpose, you're contributing, and you are fulfilling yourself.
Yeah. And so let's just say, say your purpose was giving back to others or educating others in a particular area, and now you got to a level of success where you don't need to do that as much. Do you then need a new purpose? So is it then maybe donating my time to make society better? So that's how it shifts over time. Is that what you're sort of saying?
Yeah, well, it can shift, sure. I mean, just as you mature and you grow and you learn, things can change, of course. But don't mistake having a purpose with being a fanatic. There are some people who have agendas, and no matter where the conversation is, it's brought back to that agenda. So I say, I had a good tuna sandwich, and they say, this is a problem with sustainability and climate. No, I'm talking about the tuna sandwich. Really. In the U.S., I kid some people. They say, Alan, God, it's pouring today. I say, it's Trump's fault. Because everybody brings everything back to that. So it's quite, if you change your purpose or you add to it or you reframe it, that's a sign of mental health. That's great because you're not just stuck in one groove.
Yeah, I think one of the other frameworks and models you created is it the watertight doors, where you kind of have to close a watertight door to keep on moving. I think this also relates to what you're talking about, is that there comes a point where you can buy back time. You can, you have to shut those things off. What's the danger when we don't shut off the watertight doors? And can you explain that model to listeners who haven't heard it?
Well, I think there are 4 levels towards success. The first is to survive. And we survive when we start a new job. We survive when we get married. We survive when we have a partner and things. And we're scrambling to put bread on the table. But the next level up is alive. And that means you've got some stability now. You see your future. People are starting to know who you are. The third level up is arrive. And now you've got a brand. and people will come to you. You don't have to go to them, and you've got resources you're building up. And then the final one is thrive. And thrive is the equivalent of Maslow's self-actualization. And here you're writing your own ticket. When you're thriving, you're determining what's appropriate. It's a thought leadership position. It's an authoritative position, and it's a place where, well, all of these are places where, unless you slam the watertight door behind you on survive, when you get to alive, you're still going to be making decisions as if you have no money.
Yeah.
And I know people who financially are at a thriving stage, but are still making decisions like they have no money. And that's damning. It's because you can't enjoy life that way.
What do you say to those? Like, are you able to coach them out of that? Or is it really just their own, like, how do they get over that? Really?
I can coach them out of it if it's not a therapeutic problem. But some people were raised in a degree where you had to save everything. You couldn't spend anything. You bought secondhand. And while it was true for a certain period, it stayed with them forever. And so I can coach them out if it's not therapeutic. And the way you coach them out is with empirical evidence. Hey, look, if you wanted to go on a vacation tomorrow, could you do that? Well, yeah, I could. And would you fly first class? Well, yeah, if it's a long flight, sure I would. Well, then why are you inviting people to have a drink with you and then walking away from the bar and not paying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so you need that kind of empirical evidence, but we see it all the time. I've been with people who look at a check on the table like it's a scorpion, like it's going to sting them. And, I put a lot of credence in people who attempt to pick up checks, here's a non-financial example, it's one-upsmanship. Somebody says, we had a great vacation. I was just talking to the UPS guy today. He loves the dogs, gives them a biscuit. He just came back from his vacation and he cruised Italy and Greece and so forth. And I didn't tell him, I've been to all these countries and here's where I've been. I asked him, how was it? What was it like? And so forth. And so that's a generosity of spirit.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not just financial. It's attention, it's intent, and so forth.
I love that you spoke about generosity of spirit and the whole one-upmanship thing. It's like, there's certain, I know people, we all know people that do that. You tell them about something and then all you're hearing is about, their experiences. And yeah, I think that is like a symptom of it as well. Just not having to grandstand or, hijack a conversation.
That's right. So look back 3 years yourself. Look back 3 years and tell me if you think that a part of your purpose has changed.
Yes, I would say so. I don't know how I'd actually articulate that, but I think it's definitely changed. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fine and it's healthy. And I think that's very important. But a lot of people, their purpose can change adversely into trying to show that you've got more and more and more. And now we go back to Musk and Bezos and the whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, like, I know, like it was fascinating. You shared before, like I've technically been retired for 25 years. Right. So,
Yeah.
but I've been around you, Alan. Like I saw you in Australia. You were hit hard with jet lag. You're still up. You're still delivering, holding an audience all day. And I remember looking at you going, how does he do this? Like Alan doesn't need to do this. And he's doing this. Like,
I love it.
You just genuinely love it.
Doing this with you is a challenge.
Yeah.
Writing these books I write is a challenge. And I did 2 Zoom workshops this week, one today and one Monday or Tuesday. And they're challenges. And I love that because I like to stay on top of my game. I'll tell you something very quickly that I think a lot of you people who are growing older, let's say, who are aging, will appreciate.
Yeah.
I build models, as you probably know, and it's not only a hobby since I was 10 years old, but it helps with my small motor skills very, very much, right? I touch type, helps with my small motor skills. Well, I've got a 256-day streak in Wordle because those are my mental skills. And when I do workshops, I'm often talking extemporaneously. Those build my mental skills. And in all the workshops, whether they're remote or real or live, people ask me questions I don't anticipate. And I have to come up with social proof and so forth, because that's what I love doing. And it keeps me on top of my game. And so that's why, I'm 80 years old and nobody can believe it.
Yeah. No, because I remember thinking, and you do so much. Like I look at your weekly newsletter and like everything that you're offering. And it's like, I'm basically half your age, and you're like offering double what I'm doing. I just find it incredibly fascinating. So yeah, well done to you. And I think it's a really great example that as you get older, you don't have to slow down. And
No.
Robert shares, love this. I believe a challenge is a state of being alive. Yeah, because I honestly was sitting in that workshop in Australia going, Alan doesn't need to do this. Like, and I could see like it was hard for you. I mean, I've run workshops off no sleep, but I have to because I'm in like, I'm not in the thriving stage yet, right? So to see you doing that is just because you love it. It's a challenge. It keeps you it keeps you well, is what I'd say.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't want to let up on the challenges because it really it's fuel.
Yeah. Whereas I guess people associate retiring with, sitting on the beach drinking margaritas. That's that assumption we have with
Yeah,
retirement.
well, I'll do that too, but that's okay.
Alan, is there anything else you want to share with listeners on this topic of, what's beyond success?
Well, I would say just a couple of things. First is it's about success, not perfection. Okay, that's primary. The second thing is success for all of us is different. And I talk about a calling, not a job or a career, but a calling. And if you get to your calling, it becomes part of who you are. And thank you for the plug there.
You're very welcome.
And you need to use your own metrics. You can look at other people and say, I want to be able to do that, but you shouldn't say, I want to be able to be her. You just should look at their behaviors and try to emulate them, but you have to set your own speed because we all have talents. And what we have to do is work on our unique talents, not other people's talents.
I love that. And tip for cutting out the noise and not facing normative pressure. How do you know what's actually what is your aspiration? How do you sort of, because I think we're definitely impacted by the environment and what society tells us. So how do you just cut that out?
Well, you have to have a system that never crashes. And here it is. And in my Filofax, I organize my life. And, at 5 o'clock in here today, it says you and I are going to get together.
Yeah.
And if somebody said, Alan, can we spend some time together at 4 o'clock? No, it's too close to 5 o'clock and who knows what might come up. And I always come on here early to make sure, the technology works and so on. So I think you have to organize your life and be absolutely selfish about it. There's nothing wrong with healthy selfishness because you can't help others unless you help yourself. It's that simple. And I can help a hell of a lot of others in terms of philanthropy, in terms of business, in terms of relationships, because I have the time to do it.
Yeah, you do. Amazing. Alan, thank you so much for talking the walk with me today. We've got our next Talk the Walk, I think it's on the 10th of September, 5 p.m. your time, my 11th of September, 7 a.m. But always fun to riff with you. Thanks for joining us. And if you joined us, if you joined us online, thanks for jumping in. If you're watching the recording, let us know your thoughts. Cheers.
See you next time.